The silence is quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we would take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains, and I'll rise up. I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again.
Good afternoon. You're tuned into Ability Matters, the program that covers matters to do with abilities, disabilities and everything in between. We are one of the longest running disability-related shows in the world, starting as Headway On Air all the way back in 2007 and now brought to you by My Home Living Care, an NDIS registered disability support organisation.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm your host, Tony Sconimilio, and with me as per normal these days is Rebecca. How you doing, Rebecca?
Good. How are you today, Tony?
I'm going great, thank you. And who was our special guest?
Today I'd like to introduce Cass. Cass works with me on Living Books, speaking to people in high schools. And we're going to have a bit of a chat today about her living on the spectrum of having autism and the different challenges that she's come up throughout her life.
Well, I know of the spectrum, mainly from, I suppose, like most people of my generation. It's just through movies and everything like that. But I think the movie Mercury Rising, the main little boy on that movie is on the spectrum, but he's one of those really, really smart kids and he remembers everything. But yeah, I know that's not with everybody on the spectrum. I know that's just the way it is, but that's Hollywood for you, so there we go.
I suppose Cass knows more about that.
Yes,
There's
of course.
a lot of people that are on a lot of different spectrums.
Exactly. I think I'm on the more colourful end of the spectrum.
Beautiful.
So I'm Cassandra, but you can call me Cass. I'm married to someone who's neurodiverse, and I love that term neurodiverse because it's even bigger than spectrum. And I have two sons on the autism spectrum as well, so we're a big neurodiverse family. And I like to say I'm not autistic, I'm an artist. And I'm a living book and I do diversity training for council, and I've worked in mixed ability long daycare centres for 14 years. But I see myself as a huge advocate for neurodiversity because people have a very strong idea of what it is and they're almost always wrong, because it's autism with intellectual challenge or autism with brilliance or autism with super nice, autism with not so great, autism, it's you are what you are and you have the features of autism in that. And I have ADHD too, which makes me pretty exciting, I think.
Oh,
Beautiful.
yes. Is that the hyperactivity one?
That means my
something, isn't it?
well,
Yes.
it means that my brain it's pretty busy. And when you throw the autism spectrum in the mix, what it means is my brain is super beautiful and amazing, and people would pay to get in there if they could, but I'm allowed to visit my own theme park all the time.
Wow, that's good positive
I
thinking,
have
yes.
adventures in my own brain because everything interests me and I just store it in there. And then when I want to go and have a visit, I don't have to hop on the train or public transport. I just dive straight into my brain, have a look around and relive all the exciting moments of my life, and I get excited about almost everything. So, and having that attention to detail, which people on the autism spectrum have, when you combine it with ADHD, you can really go places with that.
That sounds so exciting. You make it sound like a superpower.
I think of it as my superpower. I think there's a lot of negativity associated with being
Attached
neurodiverse.
to it, yes.
I mean, the world is not designed for neurodiverse people. That's true. And that's the challenge. So super loud noises, shopping malls filled with I don't know, every store's got a different jingle, and if you're neurodiverse, you're hearing all of them at the same time, super amplified. And that sort of thing can be challenging. And so we need our little time out, and people see that as sort of reclusive, but really it's just blocking out all the noise of every day that other people seem to like.
Sounds like there's a lot of different things going on there.
Sorry, there goes. So from what I just heard you say, basically your whole life is essentially like the day after you went to a concert, everything's like loud and in your face sort of thing. And
Yeah, exactly like that. And I mean, it makes the world more exciting, but it does mean you have to take a step back. Like, some people are just walking from point A to B to get somewhere.
Yes.
I can hear every conversation.
At once.
So, yeah, and I'll see everything. So every insect, every leaf, or what the clouds are doing, and then my brain will be starting to categorise everything that I'm seeing. And then, so I can be overwhelmed and want to have time out when other people are thinking, why? What just happened?
So that's a good question. How would you have time out from this life as an amusement park every day?
Oh, well, I can go into a quiet space and I can just immerse myself in my own mind, which is something that I love, but I'm also a super learner. So I like to self-educate myself all the time, and this is the superpower that all people on the spectrum have, whether they're high support needs or low support needs, and I'm obviously low support needs, is our special interests. I mean, if we're interested in something, I think it's better than any drug on the planet. I mean, literally, I wake out of bed, and when they discovered these huge, enormous elephants in the Halle Vale in Germany with these really long tusks, I mean, I was like walking around going paleo-oxygen and just thinking of what those elephants were. And I got a real kick out of it. And so if I find something that interests me, I'm off and away.
Sorry, I'm not pretty good with big words. I'm guessing that paleo-oxygen is like the obsession with elephants, I'm guessing?
No, it's a type of ancient elephant.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I love dinosaurs, I love Neanderthals, I've got all these different special interests. I've got too many to list.
So you're multi-focus.
Yeah, so I have, and the ADHD helps with that. So I store all the articles I read in my head, and then I can just go and have a look and re-immerse myself in it, and there's almost nothing that doesn't interest me. So, I mean, I'm obsessed with the Iron Age. I've got a lot of obsessions, and people sometimes think obsessions are sort of a negative thing, but actually it's your passion.
Exactly.
I get to have passion all through the day, from the minute I wake up to when I go to bed. And I mean, a lot of people can't say that. So I feel lucky.
That sounds so awesome. Yeah. You make it sound so awesome.
Everything you just described was myself at a lower age, like maybe high school, thereabouts. They never put me on the spectrum these days, but not back in the day, but I'm sure the definition has maybe changed over time.
Oh, it's changed a lot. And that's why I'm really leaning towards the term neurodiversity, because there's so many different people, and I think people need to be open to difference. And one of the ways is not pigeonholing people or putting them in this little box. And just for me, I find the word autism is too small. So autism spectrum was great. Autism spectrum disorder, scrap the word disorder. Autism spectrum condition, so much better. But if you leap forward to neurodiversity, then there's no judgment that comes from that term. Well, it even sounds good. It sounds like you picture the brain with a million different roads running off it, and that's exactly what an autism spectrum is.
Yeah, it sounds like it's an overarching thing where it could be so many possibilities all rolled into one.
And there's no limits. When you say diversity, where's the boundary?
Exactly.
That's what I like.
So the term autism has basically been
No, some people love it. I would like to be a voice for change.
Yes.
Because I think for me it's a bit like when you meet someone and they say they've got a dog, my brain's instantly like, is that a Kelpie? Is that a Great Dane? Is that a German Shepherd? Is it a Chihuahua? Like, what is going on here? And so I find that with the word autism, people get it and they just put it in the smallest box and then they plaster this massive label over the top.
It's great big.
And you cannot see the person behind it. Whereas if you say, I mean, spectrum was good, but I think diversity is like so much better, neurodiverse, because you can literally be anything. And that is one of my primary messages is a lot of people are diagnosed when they're young, and the message that they get from everyone is that's how they are now. That is who they are. And there's no room for change. And, you know, I got told that my children who are also neurodiverse, you know, they wouldn't like to hug. And I thought, hey, hang on, I'm a huggy person.
Yep.
Don't put that no hug label on me.
I'm a hugger.
And, go hugs. And I thought, there's a lot of walls that get put up for people
Barriers,
with neurodiversity and barriers that you can't get across. And I say break them down. Let the person be all the possibilities that there are to be, because it's true. When you start off at school and you're neurodiverse, you can be bullied, and that can make you withdraw. And then you get this label of people on the spectrum are like to be alone.
Yes.
And I would like to break that down, because no one likes to be alone. You like to be alone sometimes.
Yes.
When you're overwhelmed, take that time out. But who wants to be lonely? Because that's the next step to being alone. And I find a lot of people, like when visitors come to their house or when there's big school events, the kids with autism, I got letters saying keep your kid at home because it'll be overwhelming. Or, like parties. I set myself a goal when I was young. I did not like parties. I used to throw up into the bushes. I used to go and lock the bathroom door and climb out the window. I got the nickname Winnie the Pooh because a lot of bathroom windows are small, and I'd be in there with my legs waving around, unable to get out. And but I kept on going. And the thing is, a lot of messages that people with neurodiversity and autism spectrum get is, you find noise really bad. Oh, we understand, okay, avoid all the noise.
Yeah.
No, you need to go out there and expose yourself to it so you can be part of the world.
Embrace life, yes?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, bring it into the realm of what you can do, not what you can't.
Yeah. And, I mean, it is uncomfortable at first, but it's worth jumping over that hurdle if you keep on jumping.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, we've skipped a few questions.
Oh, we can keep,
Okay, then.
keep going.
That's fair enough. Let's just hold up for a second. I'll just jump to some music now just to break things up a bit. I've got some The Contours, namely Chubby Checker, with Do You Love Me Now That I Can Dance from 1962. Enjoy.
You broke my heart.
Casimir Lingerie is Illawarra's leading breast care boutique, specialising in the fitting of breast forms, mastectomy bras and swimwear following breast surgery. Whether it be a mastectomy, lumpectomy or reconstruction, with over 20 years experience we can help restore your balance and confidence. Casimir offer the most extensive range of post-surgery breast care products while giving caring and personal service with fully qualified fitters. Find your fit at Casimir, bra fitting and post-mastectomy specialist, Fairy Meadow and Warilla, or online at casimirlingerie.com.au.
VOX FM sponsor.
Hi, I'm Ian.
Hi, I'm Dan. We present Green Acres on Air.
We cover a range of different genres of music across the decades with guests from the Green Acres disability sector and news from across the Green Acres industry.
So join us from midday Wednesdays here on the Illawarra's community station, VOX FM. We look forward to your company.
Are you over 65? Pneumonia can be serious for older people and other at-risk groups. Talk to your doctor about the pneumococcal pneumonia vaccine today. Prevention is your best protection. Visit lungfoundation.com.au/protect.
VOX FM Community Service Announcement.
And we're back.
Hey, Tony, that was some great tunes that you put on there. What were they called again?
Oh, that's right, yes. That last song I just played for you then was by Eric Carmen. The song was Hungry Eyes from 1987. And, of course, the first song I just played then, that little duo then, was by The Contours, better known as Chubby Checker, everyone knows, for Do You Love Me Now That I Can Dance from 1962. And there's the song, so back into the talk, guys. Go for it.
Okay, thank you. So for anyone that's tuning in right now, we're listening to Cass, and she's talking about living on the spectrum with autism, growing up with autism. But a better word for that is being neurodiverse. So,
neurodiversity, that's right.
Yeah.
It seems a more inclusive term almost, yeah?
I think
it's a bigger word.
It makes it
more
more
of a mouthful, but
more normal instead of
friendlier term, yes. Then
it's just a variation of being human, really.
Yeah, I think you're correct there.
So essentially, it's like having a brain injury, just changing lanes.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Although I've got a lot of lanes. So
Different.
I've got
Although,
more
yes, you would have multiple lanes, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Different things lit up in the
Fair
brain.
enough, yes. I keep forgetting that. It's like, so yours is like more like a 6 to 8 lane highway compared to...
With a lot of meandering trails going off in all directions.
Lots of activity.
Yeah.
Okay,
so Cass, I wanted to ask you, what were the challenges you faced regarding your different disabilities?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges is, you're little and everyone's thinking, what's up with this kid? She's a little bit a different mould. And so people started asking me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, hey, me, only bigger. And they were like, no, what? You can be anything you want to be. And that was the key, because a lot of people on the spectrum take things really literally. So I was like, cool, I am going to be the best golden retriever out there. I'm going to be a dog. and I actually thought that dogs were dogs because they ate dog biscuits. That that's how they turned into them. Birds turned into birds because they got birdseed.
Yeah.
And so whenever I visited anywhere, I went straight for the dog bowl, much to my parents' embarrassment. And by the age of 9, I realised that my dream was not going to become true.
Well, not for that means.
But the reason I wanted to be a dog was because dogs were always nice to me and people were not necessarily. So the other challenge that I think everyone on the spectrum faces is friendships are reciprocal. So I'm actually super friendly and I love visiting people, and I do not like them coming to visit me because if you want them to go, you seem rude, but if you leave someone's place, you can always come up with a reason.
So you can always escape on your own terms.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if people come to your house...
a bit of an exit, stage left.
Yeah, that's right. So some people have tested that theory out and knocked at the door and our whole house,
You're kind of oversaying you're welcome here, so anytime you want to leave, feel free to, okay?
Well, it was great when my son was young, because he would get their coat and bag and point to the door and
he's on the
and I'd be like, yeah, thanks for that.
Wow. That's a good way to imply that they should leave, exit now, yes.
Time's up, time to go.
But
without saying you're welcome.
The thing is, it's really hard because I really do like people, but I'd rather see them out there in the world, on a bushwalk or in a restaurant or somewhere where I can...
some kind of activity.
Yeah, and whereas if they're in my home and they get cosy on the sofa, I think, how long are they there for? Don't touch my things.
Totally.
And the other thing I think is the weight of the word, because when I was younger, the word autism and autistic was the one, and people just went straight to what they thought about what it was instead of...
Which may not have been correct.
Yes, instead of who I was. And the other thing, I know this is a big thing because I used to give talks for Autism Spectrum Australia, and people at the end of the talk would come up to me almost crying and go, you were married. You said you were married. That's amazing. I have hope for my child. And I was like... I can exceed your expectations 3 times. I've been married 3 times. And my most successful marriage was to the neurodiverse guy that I'm with now. Because I guess when you have a very flexible mind, you need to be with someone that's really flexible, because society's very conformist and they have ideas about what things are.
Yeah, you seem to have to stick in a certain lane and
and even when you're at school, that's the big challenge too, because everyone wants you to be the same. And I was always coming in with bunny ears or
being
hopping
off the chart.
or saying no, I'm not wearing a tie. Or I'm not playing sport because it's hot, and everyone didn't like it because I was constantly sort of breaking the mold.
Yeah,
that's right.
Fighting the rules.
Great minds think alike.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'll ask the next question. Why is autism spectrum or neurodiversity considered an invisible disability? And I don't like to say disability.
Difference.
Altered ability.
Yeah, altered ability, absolutely.
An invisible or altered condition.
Yes. Well, one of the reasons is people often say to me, oh, you look so normal, or you look really nice. And I'm like, because that's not what it's about, because it's internal. It's how I process senses and how I process things visually and how I process movement. And so I think it's really hard, because when your difference is visible, like you're in a wheelchair, no one's going to ask you to go up the stairs.
Yeah.
If you're neurodiverse and you're finding the music level really overwhelming, then people just expect you to deal with it. Yes. And that's the hard thing. And I'm lucky there are there's a variation in the spectrum itself, and I'm able to go. I find it easier if you put me on a stage in front of thousands of people, I'd go for it. That would be my happy place because I'm in control. I get to talk, which I love doing, as you can probably tell. They get to listen, and like if you're in sort of like a party, you're supposed to go around and talk to everyone. I find that excruciating. Yeah.
I will say something because I know that Alan brought it up a bit over a month ago.
Yes.
They now have a new thing where if you wear a sunflower,
I am so wearing the sunflower.
That lets people know you have an invisible disability. So if you love sunflowers,
I love sunflowers.
You might even be able to bling yourself up with some sunflower earrings.
Now, I just thought of something then. So what if you were just wearing a T-shirt or something with a big sunflower picture on it? Would that have the same effect?
Yeah. Okay. It's, as long as you've got that symbol of a sunflower, it lets people know that, and it's something that's taking off across the world, apparently.
I've got something really important to say, though, because it is an invisible disability, like you can't tell just from looking, unless someone's got severe intellectual challenge and something else with that too. Yeah. You cannot tell by looking the level of support that person needs. So I'm very low support. I get on and do stuff. But if there's a festival or something big, I would always prefer to go with someone else. And yet people think, why? Why does she need that? Or if I'm going to be confronted with a lot of forms to fill out, I can panic, and I benefit from someone saying, next question, this, instead of just staring at the paper and screwing it up in a ball and putting it in the bin.
So you prefer the comfort of another voice, another person guiding you along the way?
Well, I think the thing is that everyone who's neurodiverse has an area where they need support.
Yes.
And you can't tell what it is. And I come across as very competent, and I am, but there are areas where I would appreciate someone,
bit of guidance.
a bit of guidance there, and yet it's very hard to get. And then for people with perhaps higher support needs, but they still seem to be functioning, it's even harder for them to say. I find, like I've got a son who finds going on trains and buses really hard, and one of the reasons he finds it hard is when it's full, he doesn't want to sit next to anyone. But if there's an empty seat, he doesn't want to upset that person. He feels like he's sort of like...
It's like invade, like...
it's like invading their space, but if he walks past them, he thinks they might feel rejected. So he prefers to not travel on the train or the bus.
The first thing that comes to my head is Forrest Gump. The seat's taken.
Yeah.
Taken.
You can't sit here.
I'm very much, I want the single seat.
Yeah.
If I can find it.
Yeah, they used to they all put their bags on the next seat.
So it's not that you want to live alone. You just prefer those little moments where you
absolutely.
forced friendship, temporary friendship.
The moments on your own are like stepping stones through life, I think, because even though I'm very friendly and I'm very capable and I can talk well.
You're talking now, so...
I definitely need those moments in between where nothing's happening. And this is something that people don't understand is with all neurodiverse people, you start off the day with an empty bathtub, and as you meet people and things happen and you see things, it's the tap dripping, drip, drip, until the bathtub's full and then overflow water everywhere. And so my moments of being totally alone are to make sure that the bathtub doesn't overflow before the end of the day.
So is that kind of like
a threshold?
Processing and reflection on things that have occurred so you can wipe the slate clean to take in some more information?
Yeah, it's also just because, like I said before at the beginning of the conversation, everything is like super bright, super exciting, super loud, super interesting. And a lot of people can shut off and just walk from A to B with nothing happening there. They're just, but for people with neurodiversity, everything is happening.
Yes.
So every cough, every sneeze, every foot stomp, every time someone speaks to someone in a harsh tone, every time someone frowns at a child or a dog, wants a pat and it's not getting one, it's all things that go boom, 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 and it's all logging up in a tally. And so... it's like taking a breath. So if you can imagine not being allowed
So would it be like releasing the dam?
Yes. So a lot of kids that have meltdowns and people think it's tantrums, it's not. The bathtub has got full.
Yes.
They haven't had those moments where they can decompress or pull the plug and let a little bit of the water out. That's all it is. It's not bad behaviour. It's not. And adults can have meltdowns too. And you can. I was once asked to this Spanish festival. I really wanted to go. I love Spanish music. I love Spanish dancing, and yet. My friend was late and I had to spend 2 hours without them. And so to escape and to go home, because I'd reached bathtub about to overflow, the only thing I could think of, because people on the spectrum are so honest, is I had to lose my phone so she couldn't contact me. So I threw it in the middle of the crowd. I can only hope that I didn't get someone and they fell to the ground.
I hope she knows about this.
She does now. And then I said, because I could say honestly then, I lost my phone. I had to go home. And so I actually
is that
lost
also
it.
a thing with being honest?
Yes.
You can't literally lie. Like you need to
I just have to say, hearing that, then
find a reason to lie.
that's one level of being, one extreme of being honesty right there. I can't make sure, I can't say I lost my phone, so I just went,
now I've lost it.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's another...
So you can't do those little social lies.
No, and that's another big challenge because now I've learnt maybe be quiet or try and... that's a hard one for me, by the way, folks. But one of the things...
What gives that away?
Is like, especially when I was young, people would say, like, you might be with... I was desperately trying to make friends. I wasn't very good at it. And a girl would put on a dress and say, does my bum look big in that? And I would go, yeah, it absolutely does.
Oh, I'm sorry to say that. Yeah, wow, outrageous. Put it away.
And, or the teacher would say, am I boring you, Cassandra? And I would go, yes. This lesson is really super boring. Yeah, and then the teacher would say, oh, do you think you could do a better job? I would go, yes please let me go. And stuff like that. So that's another challenge that all people with neurodiversity face, is that even if the facts are unpalatable or unpleasant, our default position is truth, fact. So when I was working with people, if I saw them make a mistake, it's another bad thing. Like, there's one thing people with neurodiversity hate, it's a mistake. And you're like, I must correct that before that.
Oh, I thought that was OCD.
Well, see, here's the thing. There's a huge crossover with neurodiversity with OCD, ADHD. So, but I don't hesitate. I don't care who it is. I'll tell them they've made a mistake.
What about the term perfectionism?
Oh, yeah. Well, the main thing is facts are so important. To me, if you tell a lie or you say something that isn't true, it's a bit like building your house like without the foundations, and it can just collapse. Because language is how you communicate. So why would you want to communicate something that actually isn't true? But the problem is, hey, I love this. You know that thing, honesty is the best policy? That is a lie. That's why I love that. Because it's actually not true. Because when you're honest, people don't like it.
No, most
people want you to say, oh, yeah, you look great in that dress. Or that meal was amazing. Or thanks so much for that gift. That's what I always wanted. Or, I can remember after I had a date with a guy and he said, oh, this was amazing. And I was like, what part? The prawns? They were great. And the rest of the date went downhill after that because... yeah, he'd thought I was amazing and I was very much, no, the prawns are the only good thing.
That to me right now straight away just says that's a sure sign of desperation from his part. Yeah.
So I have a quick question then from everything you just said. So do you actually, when people pronounce things incorrectly, do you have an issue with that and have to correct it?
It's horrible. I have to bite
I do.
I have to bite my knuckles. Like, now I've learnt. See, this is the thing about change. Everyone can change. I ruined my life when I was younger by jumping up, correcting people on the bus, running down the street after people going, hey, you said it wasn't that movie, or you got the book title wrong, or no. And I'd run up, perfect strangers, tap them on the arm and go, oh, you made a mistake. I heard you.
Yes.
Now
I'm sorry for overhearing, but you just said something completely freaking wrong.
Yeah, that's right. So now, over time, I learnt to moderate that, and I just, take a deep breath, and I don't say anything. I mean, I often do say it. There's a lot of times I don't, so I've learnt not to.
No, yeah, so cause I just thought that's something that most people, I know that if people used to say the line of a song and they'd say the wrong thing.
Oh, it's like
I said, that's not the word.
Hey, hang on, so you're talking about misheard lyrics.
No,
Yes.
Yes.
90% of the time they're saying, oh no, I made up my own.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, they're not the
And
lyrics.
that's where the misconception comes across. A lot of people with neurodiversity get told they're rude. And that is the farthest thing that we want to be.
Well, here we go. How about we just take this moment now to
Yeah.
have people to change this up a bit and they can make up their own words to this one. The Doors, Hello, I Love You from 1968.
Nice.
Oh, awesome.
Sure, misheard lyrics here, I'm sure, but go for it. Enjoy, listeners. Thank you.
DNN Car Sales. This is Bernie's story.
It was 15 years ago that I bought my first car from DNN. My daughter needed a new car because the old one she had was causing a lot of grief, and by going to DNN as a family, the guys there know you always get great service. Brian runs a good business and we just trust them, and they're the first place that you'd think of.
We're not here to sell you a car. We're here to help you buy a car. And we've been doing it for more than 47 years.
Yeah, she loves it.
DNN Car Sales at Dapto and on Facebook. Start your own story. DL 5816.
Proudly sponsoring VOX FM.
You can now enjoy listening to your favourite Illawarra community radio station, VOX 106.9 FM, via live streaming over the internet. Just go to myradiostream.com/VOX FM to enjoy the huge variety of programs that VOX FM is famous for. Be sure to tell all of your family and friends that no matter where in the world they may be, VOX FM is now available for their listening pleasure. Just go to www.voxfm.org.au or www.myradiostream.com/VOX FM.
A tough time doesn't excuse abusive behaviour at home. Even in crisis, there's no place for domestic or family violence. If you, your family or community is affected, help is available online and by phone 24/7. For free, confidential advice, support and counselling for everyone, contact 1-800-RESPECT. There's no place for domestic or family violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
VOX FM community announcement.
Yeah.
And you just heard from Lionel Richie with Dancing on the Ceiling from 1986. And now let's go straight back over to Cass and Beck. Go for it,
Thank you
girls.
very much, Tony. Thanks for the great tunes as well.
Pleasure.
So, Cass, I wanted to ask you, even though you think that everyone is more the same than different, what are some of those differences?
And just before I elaborate on the differences, I just want to stress that I think the most important thing is for everyone to know that we're all more the same than different. And we've got a long history of thinking of differences as bad or things to change, like you have to make the difference the same.
Yeah.
And I think that embracing the differences is the best thing. So when people with neurodiversity like correcting mistakes, and then that should be seen more as a skill. A lot of things that people with neurodiversity do are misconceived as rude, when in fact it's actually one of our skills, is spotting a difference or spotting something that's wrong on a page.
Being more observant.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is more getting back to the whole perfectionism thing that I know I suffer from myself, even though I don't think I'm suffer from autism or anything like that, but I know that's a stickler for detail, so I think that might be to do with my brain injury and everything like that, but yeah. Go for it. Sorry for interrupting.
That's something also that I'd like to change, because you said suffer with autism. I read that a lot in library books, and I get my pen and I scratch it out. No, don't be worried about it, because so many people use it. But the main reason
I didn't
people
say suffer from autism. I meant to say suffer from the brain injury.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So when people use that expression, whether suffer from a brain injury or suffer from autism or suffer, you know, the thing that makes you suffer the most is other people. It's other people's attitudes. That's where the suffering comes from almost anybody's difference or
I'm writing that down.
disability.
Attitudes, what they suffer.
Yeah,
you suffer from other people's attitudes.
That's what you do.
They're trying to force it onto you. Right.
And other people's
opinions.
Misconceptions, opinions of what you can do, how far you can go, or and that's what I'd like to change as well. It's not, because everyone should be appreciated for who they are. And if you decide really early on that someone has a condition and you see that condition as limiting, you are literally penning that person in, or you're shutting the door. Open the doors, open the windows, knock down the walls.
You go in that box over there, yeah.
Yeah, so the second-hand embarrassment is such a big one I'd like to get rid of. And when I do living books at schools, when I just say the word second-hand embarrassment, everyone goes, oh, because they've either had it or they've been at the other receiving end of it. And this is what I say. Someone was having fun, and often it's the neurodiverse person or the person with the difference is having fun, and then someone's embarrassed about what they've said or done or what they're wearing. And then you have two unhappy people. So when I go to the school, I go, hey, you keep doing your thing. You keep being happy. Let the person with second-hand embarrassment just stay miserable. Don't join in and embrace that misery that they're heaping on you.
Yeah, there's no need. Yeah, don't have to.
And, you know, sometimes when I'm in a shop, I make this a thing because my whole life I was bullied for, like, making mistakes or not conforming or not doing the same thing. So when someone makes a mistake in a shop, I always say thank you. And they always go, what? Because I'm not angry. And I always go, I'm glad to know I'm not the only one doing it. And then they're like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And I'm happy to know I'm not alone.
Seem more normal.
That is my absolute... That's how I embrace life. When people make mistakes, I just let them know that they're not alone. And I'm never upset about it because I'm like,
thankful.
hey,
I'm
yes,
not
we're
the
here.
lonely one, yes.
Yeah, because everyone does it, and yet people get so angry about it, or they have that secondhand embarrassment. But there's a whole lot of secondhand anger going on as well.
Yes,
and
a lot.
It's better to be happy than not.
Oh, okay. I'm keeping an eye on the time here.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask the last question, and then we'll wrap up and whatnot. What was the biggest misconception about autism spectrum condition?
Okay, the biggest misconception is, and you'll read this in textbooks, and I write letters to psychologists and psychiatrists all over the world about this and pull them up on it. There's this idea that people with neurodiversity and autism spectrum conditions don't have empathy. We do. What happens is you put your foot wrong when you're a kid, you say the wrong thing, and you shut down. Or you keep on, because our default position is truth. So, like I said before, if somebody says, does my bum look big in this dress? And we'll say yes if it does. That's construed as not having empathy. In actual fact, we care very much that they're then upset about it. It's that because your default position is truth, whether it's unpleasant or not, there's this sort of bad rap that everyone with neurodiversity gets, no empathy, but we have it in bucket loads. And it's actually because I have it is why I do living books and why I'm talking here today.
And why you tell people the truth.
Yeah, because I care about it. So psychopaths don't have empathy. People with neurodiversity have a lot.
That's a different story. I could get deeper into that, but it's not for the radio. Now, I have one quick question. I know that you're speaking in very broad terms now about yourself. Of course, obviously you have this condition, autism. But are you just using broad strokes? And is everyone the same as you?
No. The most important thing is that everyone is different, and attitude is everything. So, but you can crush someone's attitude as easily as you can stomp on an ant. I was lucky in that I am a keep taking another step person.
Yes.
So I'd fall over, get back up. A lot of people with neurodiversity perhaps decide to just clam up and be quiet.
That's it.
I want to have a bigger voice so that I can tell people that that's not the end of the story. They don't have to, get out, don't stomp on me sort of thing.
That's very bad.
Yeah, and I know we're talking a little bit, do you want me to tell the spin the bottle story? Because it's...
Well, I don't think it'd be appropriate for the radio.
Oh, no, it is.
Okay, what?
No, this is
not bad.
This is PG story.
Okay.
No,
We've got 2 minutes.
I'll just give you an idea of how literal someone, as a teenager can be. So when I was at school, after a few weeks of being at school, someone said, do you want to play spin the bottle? And for me, I don't know what that was. And I just thought, spinning bottle. That sounds cool. I want to see. And we all went down, and then they explained the rules of the game. And if you spun it, you had to kiss the person opposite. And everyone knew that I was a bit odd. They didn't know why, but they got me to spin the bottle first, and it pointed to the hottest, guy. I still remember his name. I won't say his last name, but Stuart. And
you all know who that is now.
Stuart was all too keen because I was quite cute, and he wanted to have a, and I was like, oh, stop. I am not exchanging saliva and microbes with someone I am not well acquainted with. And furthermore, have you seen how boys eat hamburgers? I am not kissing one until they learn how to eat, which is probably when they're older than 18. So and everyone was a bit shocked that I didn't want to kiss Stu. So a few weeks after that, there was this sort of special dance so that all the new high school students could get to know each other. And it was set up in a park, and Stuart came over, and he was still resentful about missing out on this spin the bottle kiss. And he told me that I looked a bit hot, and he didn't mean hot isn't attractive, but hot. And he offered me a drink, and it was, summer. And I stepped.
So it was a wrong definition of the term hot.
And he didn't even. And I didn't know that there were these innuendos and you could misconstrue things. So he wasn't going to give me a drink. He was going to get that kiss that he missed out on. And they were doing drain work, and there was this huge pit. And when he went to kiss me, I gave him a huge shove, and he fell down the hole, and there was this cry, and he had to be rescued. And he was known, I'll just say this, he was known as Stu the Poo, courtesy of me, for quite a while.
Wow.
Yes. That was, but no one could understand why I didn't want that kiss from the hottest boy at school.
Well, that's got to be the hottest little story there to close up another episode of Ability Matters on VOX FM 106.9. But I'm going to take out today's show with I used to be one of my favourite song of mine, but I used to play it regularly, but now I'm just going to bring it back out of the woodwork now.
See you later, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Bye.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much
having
for
me.
having a chat with us today, Cass, and thanks for everything done for us today, Tony.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to close out today's show with Harold Faltermeyer and Steve Stevens, but don't forget, it's a Top Gun anthem from 1986, but don't forget to stay listening for the Smooth Connection coming up straight after this with Sylvia, not Sylvia, she was last week. This is Eileen, thank you very much. Coming up next. Here's the song. Till next week, listeners, thank you very much for listening. Ciao, ciao.